What if I told you the first Android phone never actually made it to market? This little device right here could have been the debut of Google's smartphone vision. It's called the Google Sooner. And in an alternate universe, it might have actually shaped Android into something completely different, as you can see, something that looked a lot more like a BlackBerry than the phone you probably have in your pocket right now. But the iPhone changed everything. And today, I've got a working Sooner prototype in my hands. I haven't even powered this thing up yet. I'm gonna walk you through the history of this device, what could have been, how Apple's big reveal necessitated Google's big pivot, and of course, I'm gonna power it on and see exactly how Android looked before the world ever even heard of it. Let's rewind to 2006. The smartphone market wasn't really the smartphone market yet, at least not what it became a few years later. Nokia dominated with nearly 35% market share at the time, selling hundreds of millions of user-friendly feature phones. BlackBerry was the go-to for executives. It had secure email and those physical clicky keyboards that everybody loved. Motorola was still riding high on the ultra-thin Razr. That was its stylish, at least at the time, flip phone. It felt more like a fashion accessory than a cutting-edge piece of technology. The truth is, if you weren't in business, odds are you weren't even thinking about a phone like this with extra capabilities. They were expensive, somewhere in the range of $300 to $500. Plus, you tack on a data plan on top. Very pricey. And they weren't exactly intuitive either. Web browsing was slow and clunky. You navigated menus with a tiny directional pad, and the idea of an app store, at least on mobile, didn't really exist yet. You just got what your phone shipped with, and that was that. For Google, though, the opportunity was clear. Build a phone that could merge their comprehensive suite of web services, Gmail, Maps, Search, and give them a new mobile form factor. Bring search and ads to people's pockets, and the target, it seemed, was to beat BlackBerry at its own game. And being that the model for smartphones at the time involved hardware keyboards and dumb displays, their first prototype, codenamed Sooner, was aimed squarely at competing with BlackBerry and Windows mobile devices. This is Sooner. It's built by HTC, and it's using the same chassis as the HTC Exa 300, also known as the T-Mobile Dash. You remember that one? This was a familiar form factor for carriers at the time, though they never saw this particular unit. It had a 2.43-inch non-touchscreen, full QWERTY keyboard, a directional pad, and dedicated keys for menu, home, and favorites. Inside, it's rocking a single-core 200 megahertz TI OMAP 850 processor, 64 megabytes of RAM, and 64 megabytes of storage with a mini SD slot for expansion. Connectivity-wise, well, strictly 2G. There's no Wi-Fi on this device, no 3G, a 1.3 megapixel camera with no flash. By 2007 standards, this was already feeling a bit behind, but it was a start. The magic, however, was never going to be in the hardware specifically. It was Google's software, a pre-1.0 version of Android. And even at this stage, it had Google Search built in, had Gmail, Google Talk, Google Maps, and a WebKit-based browser. And for the first time in mobile, a unified notification system. The internal pitch was simple. Combine the productivity of a BlackBerry with the power of Google's services, and you've got something carriers can sell to their business customers and their growing base of heavy texters. But all of this changed in January 2007, and I'm sure you can guess why. But before we get to that, if you enjoy these historical perspectives on the Android operating systems like I do, please give this video a like, consider subscribing to my channel for more like this, and hit that bell so you know the next time I share my historical take. It helps a ton, so thank you. January 2007 was a pivotal moment, not just for phones, but for technology. That's when Steve Jobs walked on stage at Macworld and unveiled the very first iPhone. All screen, multi-touch gestures, full web browser, pinch to zoom, no physical keyboard. Seriously, there wasn't much to compare this against at the time. Andy Rubin, head of Android at Google and one of the creators of Android, was in a taxi in Las Vegas for the consumer Consumer Electronics Show when he saw the keynote, and his reaction was something along the lines of, holy cow, I guess we're not going to ship that phone after all. That phone, of course, he's referring to being the Sooner. The Android team scrambled. As Google engineer Chris DeSalvo put it, as a consumer, I was blown away. I wanted one immediately, but as a Google engineer, I thought, we're going to have to start over. Whew. What a harsh reality. And with that, the Sooner was instantly obsolete. Compared to the iPhone, the BlackBerry-inspired design now just looked archaic. And the iPhone wasn't even out yet when this happened. Google scrapped it as a commercial product and then shifted all focus to a secondary touch-based smartphone design that would later become the legendary HTC Dream, also known as the T-Mobile G1. But here's the thing, they didn't throw Sooner away. It stayed in use internally because it was the only stable hardware they had at the time. Engineers kept refining Android on it, building the operating system that would later power the G1 and every Android phone that came after it. Now, like I said earlier, I haven't even powered the Sooner on yet, so we're gonna do that right now. Let's dive in and see what all the fuss was about at the time. All right, so it's easy to miss the power button, but there it is right up there. It sits flat. Go ahead and hold that down, and hopefully I'll have no issues. Hey, where do you go? There we go. We've got signs of life. Aw, that's cute. I'm gonna say in person, the display looks pretty sharp so far. Not bad for an early device. Of course, I don't have a SIM card in, and even if I did, I don't even think it would do anything. Forgot it's not a touch screen. Okay, gotta use the directional. So this is the Sooner home screen. Again, I can't touch it, even though my fingers really want to like interact with it as if it's a touch screen. You got the little directional pad down here that takes you to the different modes, which, I mean, at the time when you didn't have touchscreen, this was probably pretty kind of, standard and maybe even cutting edge. I know that the quality of the display looks really nice in person. But you got your browser, you got your SMS app, contacts, a look at all applications, settings, and then what was the one that I missed? Oh, of course, calendar. Let's see here. If I go into all applications, okay, so we've got a little applications list. This kind of feels a little familiar, when compared to standard Android apps drawer. Oh, hey, look, you got Snake on a phone. Press up to play. Of course, I go right for the game. Okay, wow, this is good. I wish I could speed it up though. Let's see how far I can get. I do remember playing Snake though on my phones because you didn't really have many games to choose from. And once you started being able to kind of get games on your devices, even just your feature phones that were more than just something like this, it was a really big deal. Oh, damn it. I didn't even know how I lost, but I did. Okay, we'll go back home. We got our settings, which that looks really familiar, very close to kind of early Android design from a menu perspective. Again, can't tap it, but battery info. Let's see your battery level 9. Obviously the date and time are not set properly. This is not very intuitive looking. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pass on that. That'll take more time than I really want to spend on it. Device info. Okay, so it has a little bit of information as far as how long it's been awake, that sort of stuff. We've got our build ID, so you see that HTC is the manufacturer of this device. SIM pin, all right, some safety and security features. All right, I don't have it connected to a mobile network right now. Some of this stuff is not gonna identify because it doesn't know what it is. It's not connected to anything. Maybe a little screen timeout, ringer settings. Oh, I wanna test some of these. Can we? Okay. Sup, Googlers? Let's see here. Go classic. Okay, that would be a little annoying. That might even be more annoying. There's a little bit of a delay as I'm popping around. Huh, this is modern. Maybe then, not much now. Oof, okay. I think it was set appropriately. At least this has a kind of a catchy quality to it. Okay, all right, so that's the ringtones. Let's see what else we got here. Contacts, no contacts from the start. Can I add one? Oh, okay, there we go. Sure, let's go ahead and add one. Yeah, go ahead and put me in there. The keys are very clicky. they're pretty firm. They don't have a lot of wiggle to them, so that's good. They don't feel necessarily cheap. They're actually kind of hard to push down, if I'm honest. Oh, but I want to take a picture. Okay, so then let's go here. It won't, why won't it? Oh, it's, it doesn't show you the preview while you're taking a picture. You're just, oh, it has nothing to store it on either. I don't even know that this is gonna work. Image quality, heck yeah, best. Why wouldn't I? I know that's the largest sensor we've ever seen on a smartphone. The quality's probably amazing, but for whatever reason, I can't get a preview of it. That's such a bummer. Go into SMS. There is no Wi-Fi on this device, so it's not like I can just jump on to, the internet with the browser, even though there's a browser app on here, but it's not gonna take me anywhere. Or does it? This must be on the home device because it's definitely not connected to any sort of a network. How about, sure, CNN. Yeah, see, this is as good as we get. Okay. And then finally, the calendar. Oh, hey, that's workable. We went in, we could find a spot and jump in and make an event. Wow, look at that calculator. It's like, okay, so if I want to use this, I have to go Alt 6. No, hang on. 6. No. What? You gotta be smarter than the Sooner. Gotta be smarter than the Sooner. I'm definitely not smarter than the Sooner. Okay, so it's just by default, it's doing numbers. Okay, so then where's my plus minus plus 32 plus 32? 64. Yay! 64 plus 64 equals, oh. See, I can't even do basic math, right? Oh, well, I do really appreciate the kind of replica of a real world kind of printout inside of a calculator. That's kind of Apple was doing some of that stuff in the early days as well. Let's go back into applications, into anagrams, slights, tiles. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Tilus, sit. This is a really enjoyable game, but I'm going to cancel it. Global time. Okay, sure. Even though this time is completely inaccurate. Where else in the world do we want to know about? Oh, I've got a little globe that I can navigate around to see how everything else is. Okay, great. Music. Oh, I'm guaranteed to find some really great stuff in here. Let's see here. So now playing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Browse. Oh, I do have an SD card in there, but it's not formatted properly, and even if it was, it wouldn't have any music on it, so there's that. All right, well, that's of limited use. At least there's a music capability. At least you can get that. But even if you do, like, there's no Bluetooth on here. There's no headphone port. So are you just playing your music out of the little speaker on the back, I guess? Okay. Quake. Oh. This is the story of my entire demo with this device is, oh. That's all right. It's history after all. Does it really matter that much? Tweet. Is this when Twitter was early days? I mean, this was early tweet, I imagine. Early Twitter. So early that there's like no branding whatsoever. What are we missing here? To-do list. Okay, we could go there and add a task. I guess my task is to enjoy Sooner. Okay, there we go. And done. See? It's that easy. One thing that's really interesting about this device is that obviously it's not touch activated, but according to Android engineer Diane Hackborn, the operating system that's on here could actually already handle touch input if the hardware actually supported it. So, from an early stage, the architecture was almost more forward thinking than the device that it ran on that couldn't even support it. That's pretty cool. Now, the truth is, if the iPhone had launched later, it's entirely possible that the Sooner would have been Android's first product, a BlackBerry competitor with Google services baked in. But in a post-iPhone world when suddenly everyone cared about multi-touch interfaces, shipping this could have been a total disaster. It could have actually sunk Android's credibility before it ever got off the ground. It could have taken a long time to undo. Instead, what we have here is an important stepping stone because this hardware kept Android development moving while Google's hardware team quickly built out the G1 for the masses. And as you can see here, the fingerprints between these two devices, and not necessarily just on the screens, are pretty similar between the two, right? You've got the physical keyboard. Apparently, Google still believed that users weren't ready to give them up entirely, but the touchscreen first interaction with the G1, that was pure iPhone adaptation at its core. See, this is the fascinating thing about tech history. Even when Google faced a potential failure with the timing of its sooner development, it also ended up being the catalyst for the development of its earliest smartphones, like the G1, the development of which was critical in shaping the foundation and flexibility of the Android ecosystem as a whole. Sooner, as we know, never made it to store shelves, but with huge thanks to my friend Mike Wolfson, it made it to this channel so that I could experience its history firsthand and show it to all of you. So Mike, thanks. Now that you've seen how the Google Sooner nearly became Android's first phone, what happens when Google finally does launch its own vision of the perfect Android device and it flops? Well, you'll want to watch my video on the Nexus 1 to see how its grand debut, surprising failure, and lasting legacy shaped everything from the first Pixel release to the phone that's probably in your pocket today. And be honest, if the Sooner had launched in 2007 as expected, would you have picked it up? Well, leave me a comment, let me know, I promise to respond. And thank you so much for watching this look into Android history with me. We'll see you next time.